creating a great beverage program is not only purchasing the right piece of equipment, but also dialing in the recipes to that piece of equipment. The Quiet One has a great opportunity to be dialed in. It has 34 different factory programs that come with the machine, as well as the option to be custom programmable. And that's going to give you the ability to adjust the speeds and times to delicately nuance those ingredients to where you want them to be, to create unique textures, to also blend things out to uniform consistency. If you want something to be one perfect color, that can be done. If you want something to have a little bit of a fleck of an ingredient to create some texture and some play from a visual perspective, that's possible as well. Speed of service is also something that you can custom program to. And the majority of the time, the employee base that you're going to have could see higher turnover. So training is key from an operations standpoint. You want to make sure that it's easy to create that same high quality beverage every time, and that the training for that is very easy to do. So a programmable unit like the Quiet One really provides you with that option. And we're going to go ahead and move one of the programs from the back in the board to the front 6 buttons. So in order to do that, we're going to have to cycle power. So we're going to go ahead and turn the power switch off at the rear of the machine. And we're going to want to touch the high pulse button and go ahead and push and hold that. When we cycle power back up, it's going to give the version of software, the version of the programming that's on there, and then it'll prompt us to button setup with the recipe. And the first one's listed as recipe number 1. We're going to want to select recipe 28. So I'm going to use the down arrow to go down to 34 and then all the way to 28. And then we're going to go ahead, once we select 28, we're going to put that on button 1. So we'll go ahead and push button 1, and you can see that's transferred over. So if I were to hit the button 1 at this point, I can see program 28 or recipe 28 in the corner, and then the opposite side, it starts counting down that recipe set all the way to 0 for you. And that's going to dial this recipe in to that programming for speed of service, but also for consistency. So we've moved program 28 to the front board, and the reason that we've selected that program, it's a little less aggressive than the ones that are already on the front 6. The other thing that we really want to do with this is not only to break down that ice cream, but do so in a way that doesn't make the shake too smooth, too thin. We want to incorporate all those ingredients uniformly. But we also have bacon that we want to chew down a little bit, but not completely obliterate. So we want to allow a little bit of texture, a little bit of play there. For this bacon bourbon milkshake. So in a very similar scenario, I've worked with customers in the past who wanted to do a green smoothie using a high-end smoothie base with ice, and they wanted to throw in a handful of spinach, but they wanted the customers to see after it was blended that there were real fresh vegetables tossed into that. So we selected a similar type of profile from a programming standpoint to break all that ice down to a smooth consistency, to dial in the texture and thickness of that smoothie itself, but also not completely just blow out that spinach into one uniform color. So very similar applications from that standpoint. With that, we're gonna go ahead and build the recipe for you. So this is a more decadent recipe, and it's also a batch size. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the ice cream from our freezer here. And we'll start with the liquid ingredients. So we're in with our dairy, and this is gonna help create a little bit of a liquid so we can get good movement. Then we've got a smoked maple bourbon that we're gonna go ahead and add. And we've got a piece of bacon that we've just halved. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop our ice cream in. And we'll go ahead and drop the lid in nose first, so it's easy to drop and latch in. We'll place that onto the blender and select program 28, which we've moved to button 1. So just in 15 seconds of processing, we've got a very uniform, decadent batch-made milkshake. We've got a nice pour to it, but also got some nice thickness. Those balls of ice cream have been nicely broken down. And we've got a little bit of that bacon fleck that stands out with a nice play visually, but also we've got a nice little flavor pop there.